Welcome back to my channel. I'm a German and yesterday I uploaded the first part for this video. I'm reacting on Geography Now Tunisia, and it was quite interesting. I think we stopped right here where was the part for the demographics, and I hope you enjoyed my first video. That's probably the reason why you're here now, and you're gonna see the reaction after the intro.
An meinem Lippen wie im Hundefell verdreckte Kletten. Spread the joy auf dem Beat, lass die Spuren den Detective tracken. Kotik wie in Crime-Movies, nur Mikrofon und besten Ketten. Reim, mach fette Tracks, der rennt da weg, so wack am Steffen.
Now I'm very happy you're back, and I would say let's see with the next part of the geography video about Tunisia. All right.
So, Sami, Ahmed, what
Is
is
it not
a
loud
Tunisian?
enough? Wait a second. No, it should be loud enough. Maybe it's because music is usually louder than these videos.
Person.
Ooh, that's a tough one. A Tunisian has a deep knowledge of about the Arabs and Africans, Europeans, and even Americans, but none of them understand his culture.
We're kind of Arabs, but not quite, because we are so diverse and mixed, and we keep our
We are kind of Arabs, but not really. This is interesting. All right.
traditions from a long time ago.
So,
We could be aliens, as far as I know. We're out of this world.
Tunisians are just kind of Tunisians. It's like, that's the best way to describe you guys.
We're just people. Surprise.
Well, if we
Hey, that's a good thing to look in general on people from other countries, right? They're people.
must break the nation down demographically, here's how we do it. Tunisia has a population of about 12 million people and was recognized as one of the freest and
12 million? Okay, I was thinking about this, but I thought you have more. Actually, 12 million, all right?
open countries in the Arab world. The country claims
One of the most open countries in the Arab world? Okay, I mean, I know that a lot of Europeans do their vacation in North Africa in general, right? Like Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, like these are certain places where people... I never was on the African continent yet, but...
to be about 98% Arab, or sometimes Arab Berber, depending on who you talk to. Genealogy
Arab Berber.
records and DNA tests have revealed that it is speculated that within the group of Arabs, about 60% are said to have some degree of native North African Berber or Amazigh ancestry within their heritage.
That just makes sense because I think with the Arab conquest, that just people became kind of part of the Arab world, like I think like historically, right? So
The Arab title, though, is complicated because it doesn't pertain to any specific ethnic group, but rather just people that speak Arabic and have an Arab identity, whatever that may be. From there, about 1% claim to actually be Berber or Amazigh, and the remaining 1% are other groups, mostly European.
So we use the Tunisian dinar as our currency, and we use the type C and E plug outlets, and we drive on the right side of the road.
So let's talk about language. Most Tunisians are at least bilingual with the official language Arabic, as well as French, which is used from
Arabic and French. This is basically the same like in Morocco, right? Pretty sure. But in Morocco you have a third language.
schools from elementary and up.
Yeah, we study French from 2nd grade and English from 3rd grade. In high school, all subjects are in French.
So in high school,
So you learn French before English? Wait, did I get that right? It seems almost wrong, but it is actually right there.
2nd grade and English from 3rd grade. In high school, all subjects are in French.
everything is in French.
That is interesting. Not in Arabic?
Yes,
Do you speak any Arabic in high school?
just the one Arabic subject.
Just Arabic subject
and
is...
a few others like the religion.
Oh, like
stuff
religion.
that.
So that basically means French is the first language in Tunisia. Alright, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Philosophy.
philosophy. Nonetheless, with Arabic, Tunisians actually have their own distinct Tunisian dialect. It's often described as like sing-songy, difficult to understand.
The dialect is actually pretty close to the Maltese language.
To explain more, Ahmed, come on in. Why don't you explain about the
Close to the Maltese language. Malta is in the Middle Sea, right?
language, and we'll add another geography with him.
Okay guys, so let's talk about our dialect. So Tunisians sometimes use very old school Arabic words, and we also mix up French, Spanish, Italian, and Amazigh. For example, Barsha is an
Oh, okay. So we have quite a mixture of different
OG
languages.
Arabic word, and it basically
Barsha.
just means a lot. So our word sounds sexier, and I like that. In Amazigh, we say
Barsha means Allah. Did I understand that right? Wait a second.
French, Spanish, Italian, and Amazigh. For example, Barsha is an OG Arabic word, and it basically just means a lot. So our word sounds
Ah, a lot, nicht Allah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's actually right on screen.
that. In Amazigh, we say fakroon, which means turtle. In Spanish, we say sabat, which means a shoe.
Like zapato.
Italian, we use carreta, meaning a horse wagon. Oftentimes, we take French words but conjugate them in our own way. For example,
Oh,
Like, for example, the word exam, we usually use the French word which is examen, but with a slight twist for the plural word. We take the plural ed suffix from the Arabic and stick it on the French word examen, and it becomes examenet. To say, I need
okay.
to study because I have to take many exams this semester. In Tunisian, we'd say لازم نقرأ خاطر عندي برشا examinات السمستر هذا. As you can see, we use the French letters to write it and with number. Substitute the letters that have no equivalent in French.
Oh, yeah, this is the same like in Moroccan language. Okay, with these letters, the 9, the 5, the 3, and the 7.
9 for qa, 3
Oh, I needed this explanation a long time.
that have no equivalent in French. 9 for qa, 3 for
Ka, as we Quran. 3,
a, just because they look like the Arabic letters.
Ajin.
I also used word very known to be Tunisian, like khater, because
Khater is like, the 5 is
barsha, so many.
Barsha.
Thank you.
One thing that kind of makes Tunisia stick out is that although nominally we are primarily Arab, we are also kind of like the mixed descendants of all empires.
Which means they don't have a sense of typical Arab tribalism.
The social structure has kind of allowed us to walk the fine line between what is deemed acceptable in Arab conservatism versus westernized values.
it's an identity.
Between conventional, okay, it's somewhere between like Western standards and Arab standards is how we can conclude this, where Tunisia is lying. I feel like this is hard because actually when you travel to such you're between like everyone basically when you go to another country, but maybe it's even an advantage. I could imagine this as well.
Crisis.
Basically. Tunisia is often designated by outside sources as the freest country in the Arab world and most open to civil equality. Oftentimes, they're also kind of considered the most open to Western values in the Arab world as well. Bet a lot of you guys.
Interesting to hear that as well. I didn't know that because Tunisia was never like the big country you have in picture when you think about Arab countries. It's not really like this country you would think about. I would rather think. I think my first thought would always be Egypt. Like that is close to the Western standards. I would say it's always hard to say what are Western standards. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a general thing. What are Western standards? Maybe you have democracy. Okay, you have rights of equality. Free sex, free gender, free yeah, all this kind of stuff, right?
As we're thinking of me, keep in mind the key word was Western values. A lot of people seem to conflate that term with modern development, which is not necessary or mutually exclusive to that term.
Okay, this is that was Dubai, and modern development is of course not the same as Western standards. I mean, I just want to go on one example, like when you we had this discussion in Germany. Maybe you probably know about this because of the World Cup, that like there was a big topic in Germany that homosexuals were told to not visit Qatar in the World Cup because you could face punishment if you show your homosexuality in public, right? Qatar is a very developed country, a very rich country, but that doesn't mean you have the same standards, right?
Just keep that in mind.
This is why Tunisia has been a pioneer for many other moments in the Arab world. Having the oldest constitution in the Arab world, we were the first to abolish slavery.
They were all
The first to abolish slavery, 1841, were the first to abolish slavery. I mean, Tunisia was enslaved, or did they have slaves? Because, okay, I don't know really how this is. I not the background knowledge to this.
Having the oldest constitution in the Arab world, we were the first to abolish slavery.
They were also the first nation in the Arab world that allowed women to file for divorce and receive inheritance, pass on nationality to children, as well as even marrying outside of the Muslim faith.
Legally, women...
I mean, in my opinion, it's a good thing to give, like, as we say, this would be something that you would say are Western standards. What is basically not really a Western standard. Like, you have this in many countries, but I think especially in the Arab world and in the world of yeah, I don't want to say necessarily like Islam. I think Islam is wrong to say that. I think in the Arab world, there's often, in the Western eyes, the women are in a bad spot. And this is what many people think about the Arab world in general that live in the Western countries, right? So when they say that right here, that Tunisia was the first country to give these rights to women, then I could imagine they did it way before a lot of other European countries, for example, did it. Like, this is something you have to keep in mind. We're just in history, Europe was quite weird in some times of history as well. Only because right now we have so much liberty here, it doesn't mean we always had it.
Are allowed to wear almost anything from hijabs to bikinis. However, recently, after extremist attacks, they put a ban on full face and body veils.
Oh, okay. Actually, niqabs were banned because of terrorist attacks, extremist attacks. This is interesting that there's quite kind of an anti-extremist movement right here.
Today, women also make up about 30% of their parliament.
So yeah, there's a lot of female.
So for Western people, all these points are probably very important, right? When we talk about equality, I can just tell that from my people, from my country, they would say, "Oh, this is super nice," and yeah. They would say this is awesome that Tunisia is doing this stuff.
Female stuff happening in Tunisia. We're proud of it. We like it.
Female stuff, yay. Although some of these rights were around long ago, many of them were spurred by the 2010 Tunisian or Jasmine Revolution, which ousted former President Ben Ali.
This was the trigger moment that sparked the Arab Spring. You've probably heard of it. It basically went down like this.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tunisia was also...
So Syria started this Arab Spring, man. Can we actually, because he said you probably heard of this. When we enter this Arab Spring was a series of anti-government protest uprisings and armed rebellions that spread across much of the Arab world. So to be honest, I'm a little bit out of that. All right.
So kind of the only country to have had relative success after their revolution. Every other country that took part in the Arab Spring, except for Bahrain, pretty much fell into civil war.
Now, it hasn't been clear and smooth sailing for Tunisia either. Our economy took a hit and we've had like 5 presidents in 10 years.
So they're kind of...
5 presidents in 10 years because the economy went down. But what is the reason? We don't see the reason why the economy went down, right?
Kind of like still in the experiment stage, figuring things out, but overall they mostly achieved the legislative objectives that they wanted. Yeah, we could go on this topic, but we have to move on. Religion!
Within the constitution,
So, we go to another interesting part right here, religion.
Islam is the state religion and about 98% of the country
98.
identifies as Muslim. About 60% of that group claiming
Sunni.
to be Sunni.
The Constitution does allow freedom of religion and respects cultures that have played a role in their history and cultural identity.
You can find some churches mostly in Tunis, and there are about 2,000 Jews still living in Tunisia, about 2/3 of which can be found on Jerba Island, which has African
Okay, that is interesting. You have a Jew minority. This is also again a fact that is interesting for Western people because of the history of Jews in general. I think most Jews living in North Africa moved to Israel, but there's just a completely different topic. I just wonder, maybe I should not go into detail right here. Yeah.
Yes, oldest synagogue.
And a lot of Jews take a pilgrimage over there, right?
Yes.
Like every year, it's like a thing they do. Well, one other thing Tunisians make pilgrimages to are stadiums whenever a sporting event occurs. To talk about that, here's Art with the sports part.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I guess it's time for the sports part with Art.
It's like the beginning of a cult video.
So when it comes to athletics, it pretty much goes without saying, Tunisians are the best swimmers in the Arab world. Thanks to their maritime culture and access to swimming facilities, Tunisians know how to get around the old splish splash, splishity sploo, whatever you want to call it. Today, they've racked up...
You can call it swimming as well. Well, we can call it splish splash splishity sploo as well, I guess. Oh, man.
3 gold medals and 1 bronze in swimming events at the Olympics, more than any other Arab nation. This guy, Oussama Malouli, won 2 gold medals and has competed in every Olympics from Beijing to Tokyo. He's a big deal. And what goes better with water than a beach? And what can you find at a beach? Volleyball! Tunisia is today ranked #1 in Africa with 11 African championships in men's volleyball. Also, this Tunisian woman right here is the #1 ranked African and Arab female tennis player. She won her biggest title to date in the 2022 Madrid Open, a WTA 1000 event. This made her the first Tunisian and Arab player in the world to win at that level. Finally, you cannot...
Now, I think the sports part is pretty interesting because you can see from the geography of the country why certain sports are more successful. You have the vast ocean for swimming, you have the beaches for volleyball. Tennis is kind of a little bit out of this, but it's a very Western sport, I think. Tennis is something I never really understood why it's such a big deal, but it's the same with golf, for example. Now we're going into football, actually.
Talk sports in Tunisia without bringing up soccer or football. Everyone in Tunisia pretty much supports...
man. Please, call it like that. That are the clubs. Right.
One of these 4 teams right here. Their national team, the Eagles of Carnage. Carnage. I said Carnage.
Carthage.
They're just tearing up the place.
Their national team, the Eagles of Carthage, has won the Africa Cup, the African Nations Championship, and the Arab Cup. They've qualified for FIFA...
You know the thing is? You know what the thing is? It says like, I didn't know even these cups exist for football. The Africa Cup, the African Nations Championship, and the Arab Cup. We in Europe, we know Champions League. What? Well, and the World Cup and the European Championship. African Cup. Nice. Arab Cup. They're basically for a soccer nation like Germany. Interesting to see these cups actually existing, man.
Arab Cup. They've qualified for FIFA 6 times, with their highest rank being 9th back in 1978 in Argentina. So that's pretty much it, and I gotta go. So...
Thank you, Art.
Please don't go to heaven yet. Amen.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the theme of water keeps kind of popping up in Tunisia, and like we just learned, swimming is a huge part of your culture.
Yes,
like
it's big.
Oh, Ahmed, what is this thing you are wearing? That's a Tunisian thing. What is it? Explain, Sami.
It's a shashia. It's our traditional hat. Oh, it looks good on you.
Yeah, you'll find this in Tunisia every so often.
It's mostly for special occasions.
Well, to explain a little bit more on the culture and stuff like that, here is Random Hannah.
I love this.
Hi, guys.
So we going on the culture part. Let's go right here. This video is gonna be too long, I guess, already.
As I am back, your favorite host on Geography Now. So, Tunisia has a lot going on. First thing you need to know, the jasmine flower. It's the national flower and used in like so many ways. Often, a mashmoon or small bouquet of jasmine flowers will be worn by a man to symbolize that he is single and ready to mingle. At
Okay, okay. Oh, okay.
Special events, people might wear the traditional clothing. Tunisians are all about fashion. Jellabas and dengris are popular unisex garments. But for women, there are way more options because every major region has their own traditional dress. Architecture is very distinct. Many homes and buildings will have the traditional bab door,
doors. Look, they look really awesome. I'm really, it's really unfortunate, like after all these Second World War especially, we don't really have this architectic culture in Germany anymore because everything got bombed down basically. So we don't really have like valuable architecture in Germany anymore. I feel like often when they build something new, it's just square, live in it. Basically, that's I like this a lot when they actually put like stuff on the architecture, you know, that you have something for the eye.
Usually has a rounded arch top, vivid colors, and adorned with symmetrical metal bolt patterns or arabesque carvings. You will also notice many of the shutters are painted blue. This is done for both beauty and to ward off evil spirits. In fact, the
blue shutters are to ward off the evil spirit. Okay.
Visual arts have always been Tunisia's strong point. They are world-renowned for their carpets, handicrafts, and pottery. In fact, in the town of Chesnan, there is a rare 3,000-year-old terracotta sculpting technique of pottery still practiced by the women in the village. And speaking of art,
terracotta pottery. I think this is really interesting because like these traditions of handmade goods, something that is really missing in the world today a little bit, like really the beautiful work that you can appreciate, like art and kind of stuff. I like that.
Art film, that's my specialty. And Tunisia has a lot going on. Tunisians love cinema so much they even have their annual Carthage Film Festival. This is the oldest of its kind in Africa, started in 1966. It's designed
movie festival, nice. That's cool.
To promote and uplift African film, as well as Arab films. Many Tunisian movies were nominated for Oscars and took part in the Cannes Film Festival. I actually just went there and I'm gonna make a little video on it, so subscribe to my YouTube channel. During Ramadan,
nice, you can do it like that.
Every year, the people watch these TV shows. These are their classics. Movies like these have made waves across the Arab world. The Silences of the Palace was a highly acclaimed film set in the 1950s. It addressed issues that women faced during the time. And Dasra, Tunisia's first horror movie. So many good movie stuff. Speaking of festivals, the largest one that takes place in the country is the world-renowned International Festival of Carthage. It takes
of Carthage. We had Carthage. There was the football team that was called like that, right?
Place in the actual Roman amphitheater. This is basically Tunisia's Super Bowl. And that's just one festival. They have so many others. And of course, you can't have a festival without music, which, Keith.
Oh, Keith is doing that. Oh, but that's not Keith, man. He just he put on his hair, man.
Yeah, guys, sorry. Keith is busy with his job in Florida. We need to have a substitute. Who else here knows music? Oh, Gabs!
Keith, we miss you, and we're gonna do this episode without you and your beautiful long hair.
Woohoo!
That was gross. That was gross.
Tunisia. Let's talk about the tunes of Tunisia.
Anyway, what are these wordplays? The tunes of Tunisia.
We explained already, Tunisian music is reflective of all the cultural influences they've been through. Andalusian, Turkish, Persian, Greek, French, and of course, Arab. Today they have even a national artistic institution that specializes in teaching and preserving Tunisian music. Go there! And if you ask any Tunisian person what is distinctively Tunisian music, well, for one, Tunisians tend to add the violin a lot more to their music, and typically they will mix it with their traditional instruments and song. As for
so we have kind of a traditional classical mix. Violin is something we have. Violin is almost mainstream. Got almost mainstream. Like it's really a nice instrument. And I just wonder if they will name the traditional instruments in this video. That would be interesting to see.
Genres, most of them will probably focus on two things. Maluf, which is the traditional classic music, which is usually played at weddings. This has a South Spanish influence to it. Many Muslims from Spain migrated to North Africa in the 15th century and brought it with them. This style usually mixes fast string plucking on the oud guitar with violins, drums, and slow passionate vocals.
What's the fastest you can pluck, Gabs?
I can do this thing that's like kind of Spanish-y, where it's like... No, I can't.
No, okay.
Keith, I can't take your place, man. The second style would probably be being mizwad. The style is named after the instrument, the mizwad, or
What is this, man? Look at that. That looks native. I don't know what is this? What is that made from? Is that like leather, or what is it?
Tunisian bagpipe. Yes, they have bagpipes here.
The Tunisian bagpipe.
Reed and is made of goat leather. Mizwad music.
Oh, goat leather. Yeah. All right.
Is faster, more upbeat.
Darabuka. I know this drum. I've played this a couple of times. Back in. I don't have one here, right? No, I don't have one here, unfortunately.
And is usually accompanied by the traditional darbuka drum. Mizwad even has its own style of dance and is said to make people enter into a trance-like state when they're listening to it. Who doesn't love falling into trances?
You like falling in trances?
I sure as hell do not.
What are we implying here?
Mizwad is such a popular style of music that it even made its way into contemporary Tunisian pop and rap music. Otherwise, here are some of...
Oh, yeah. I mean, we heard a couple of rap songs from Tunisia on my channel already, and it's always to see interesting to see how the different music genres are melting together sometimes, and you have different influences. Always interesting to see. But I could imagine myself reacting on traditional music as well, wedding music, what we saw right there, for example, or just to gain a little bit of knowledge about the culture, you know? Why not?
The top musicians and music artists, you guys, the Tunisian geograpeeps, also suggested we mention in the video. So much to say about them, but we don't have time. If you are Tunisian and want to add to...
Look, I have none of these names I've ever heard, to be honest. I was waiting for a rap artist to come up that I know, but none of them is actually there.
This list, or tell us something cool about the artist, let us know. Write it in the comments. Or not. Hate us. Love us. We'll still be here. And finally, metal has creeped its way into Tunisia and has seen a steadily growing community. Gotta say, Keith, I checked out this band.
Look, this is something that I found interesting about Bangladesh, for example. We have in Bangladesh a huge rock and metal scene, and I was always wondering because, like, metal is something that it seems so out of tradition in any way. Like all, like what the clothes the people wear. I mean, they basically look like I don't even know how to say this. Like there's even black metal that's kind of satanist metal. There's metal like where they dress completely in black and everything got like they got spikes everywhere. And I always wondered how these genres can put their foot in Muslim countries. And this is something that is very interesting. But at the same time, rap is something similar because rap has so much about opinion and about like standing up and using bad words, like, yeah. But interesting to see that you got metal in Tunisia as well.
We don't know how to pronounce it. They have a really cool
Imirgar, right?
Folk metal style that mixes traditional Tunisian instruments with violins and of course metal guitars. Pretty awesome. Oh, I gotta go. See you guys.
You don't even professionally play the drum, do you?
Every Tunisian knows these
It's on our
beats.
blood.
Yeah.
Every Tunisian can play this. Amen. I swear, I played drums back in the days, and I played a couple of percussion. But yeah, I sometimes felt like if someone can take an instrument he never played before and can perform okay on that, it's probably a percussion, right? It's probably true, I guess.
We covered a lot.
So much of Tunisia is built off of history and outside influences.
But how do outsiders today see Tunisia and influence them?
Let's find out. Next segment, let's go.
So what is this? Friend zone. Which countries are... I think this is the last chapter. Which countries are good with Tunisia, which are bad? Which people you like from Tunisia, which you don't. Okay.
So, okay, as a super diplomatic country, obviously, Tunisia has a lot of relations that either go way back or are recent.
Let's just jump into the motion graphic, shall we?
So first of all, as a member of numerous IGOs like the Arab League, African Union, and the Arab Maghreb Union, Tunisia is pretty much the mediator between much of the Arab world and even the African continent. There was even a time when Cote d'Ivoire was having domestic issues and was unable to host the African Development Bank. So who took over the reins for 11 years? Tunisia. Outside of Africa, though, Tunisia is one of the US's oldest African diplomatic partners with...
Okay, so there are diplomats between Arab and Africa, and they are one of the oldest connections to the US America from Africa, is that correct?
Relations dating back over 200 years. The American Friendship Treaty was signed in 1799. Things like trade, tourism, and joint military exercises have been a part of the relationship since then. On that note, France, of course, has a special relationship with them as well due to their history and shared linguistic skills. Also, France hosts the largest Tunisian community in diaspora at over 1 million. Numerous business and government connections have been established after independence. France is their largest export and import partner, and many French companies have also relocated to Tunisia, which helps them with a little bit of an economic boost.
So Tunisia and France are basically, like, France is their most important economic partner. And they have a big community. If you just imagine, 12 million Tunisians live actually in Tunisia and 1 million Tunisians live in France. That's a lot. When you compare these numbers, I guess.
Italy and Malta are pretty close too. They are just a skip away, and historically many South Italians and Tunisians have migrated to each other's lands and intermarried, and the Maltese language being derived from Tunisian Arabic is just one hint that shows how close they have been throughout the centuries. Now, if you want to talk about inner circle, you have to go back to North Africa. On a political level, they've had their ups and downs with Egypt since the 50s when they criticized the Arab Union thing that Egypt tried to incite. Things got really good after the Arab Spring, but then the coup d'etat in Egypt strained things again. But then Tunisia's Nida Tunis movement improved things all over again, so up and down, up and down. Now, Tunisians love Libya. However, Libya is kind of like the country that they'd like to make memes about and poke fun at for a little bit. Like Egypt, they've had their up and down moments, whether it was Gaddafi related, oil related, or just Libya trying to take over the town of Gafsa in 1980. But overall, Tunisia decided to lift sanctions and normalize trade to bolster relations. When it comes to their best friends, though, almost every Tunisian I have talked to has said Algeria. Both of them...
It's the country to the left. Algeria's left from... Wait. Can I actually see this? I mean, I guess. I couldn't swear, but I think Tunisia's left of Algeria's left on the side of Tunisia, and at the bottom, maybe.
Have shared every moment of their history together dating back to the Punic Phoenician era, and today they go hand in hand. They signed the Treaty of Fraternity and Concord in 1983. They do lots of trade and business. They intermarry a lot, and overall these two have been mostly backing each other up non-stop since day one. It's just a little complicated because Tunisia is also friends with Morocco, but Algeria and Morocco on paper have that little dispute over the Sahrawi people's claim in Western Sahara. However, aside from all that, Moroccans and Tunisians as people get along pretty well and enjoy each other's company. It's just, you know, don't talk about the Polisario thing.
All right.
About the Polisario thing we talked about when I reacted on the Moroccan geography now. I can put it in the end of the video on screen. Maybe you want to see it as well. But Morocco and Algeria are not the best friends, we know that.
So in conclusion, you guys are the Tunisians. Ahmed, take my mic and speak from the heart. Go. How would you conclude this episode? Go.
I'm looking for that word. In conclusion, we're a small country, but we have a lot to offer.
True.
Okay. That was actually... no, I like it. I like it how he said this.
Even those little things, the dumb shit we do, I like it.
Do you know what I like the most about Tunisia? It's those little contradictions. Muslims but liberal, we're Arabs but Europeanized. We have great food, we have great beaches. I don't know, it's just a great country. Look it up.
Tunisia.
Yes, Tunisia.
And a good country to travel to, probably. Who knows? Somewhere in the future. Anyway.
Thank you guys. Turkey is coming up next.
And Turkey we already had. Actually, the Turkey is right after Tunisia, but yeah, that makes sense from the alphabet.
Our flags.
Yeah, don't.
Nice. So we got through, and I hope you enjoyed it because it was a long video. I don't want to make you bored right here, so we do something right quick because I said Moroccan geography. I reacted on Moroccan geography as well. You can click right here on screen if you want to see this. And right down here, you can check out a reaction from me on Tunisian rap. That might be interesting for you as well. I wish you the very best. Stay healthy, stay well, and farewell.